Mr. P's Science and Math Podcasts. For more science and math concepts, search me out on iTunes by typing Papapodcasts. You can contact me at mrplieberman@gmail.com. Thank you for watching.
Okay, so information we need to identify pretty much with our equation. When graphing parabolas, we need to be able to identify the vertex, the axis of symmetry, maximum minimum value, the pattern for graphing, because this will help us graph our parabola without having to use a table of values. So what we're going to be trying to do is, with this, we are going to help eliminate the use of a table of values. Okay? The direction of the opening, so does the parabola open up, or does the parabola open down? And actually, to go back here in terms of pattern for graphing, we're looking at it in terms of the A value being multiplied by what we called the 1, 3, 5 pattern. And then finally, the domain and range. Actually, we're going to forget about domain. We're going to focus more on range, because in terms of the domain represents all real numbers, because the domain of any parabola refers to every value of x, and because a parabola opens and it will open forever along an x-axis, so the value of x will always remain pretty much every single real number in between. Okay, so we will be making again our comparisons between the various formats with respect to the equation y is equal to x squared. So we're going to graph the following. So graph the following equations. Y is equal to x squared, y is equal to x squared plus 3, and y is equal to x squared minus 3. Now to graph these, use one of the following. Okay? Table of values or Mr. P's pattern rule to graph parabolas. And remember, Mr. P's pattern rule is whatever the A value is, multiplied by 1, 3, 5. So if we look at the A value in all these examples is 1. So therefore 1 multiplied by 1, 3, 5 will remain as a 1, 3, 5 pattern. So we already know that bit of information for our parabola. Okay. So take a moment, pause the podcast, create a table of values now, unless you know where we're leading in terms of this graph. But what I'd rather you do is try putting together a table of values and graph the following 3 parabolas. So take a moment, pause the podcast, and try creating your graph. Welcome back. Hopefully that has given you the correct graphs, and let's look at what the graphs are. Now, before we can do that, we need to remember the following. Mr. P's pattern rule, as I stated just a second ago, uses a 1-3 pattern based on the differences found in the quadratic function y is equal to x squared by finding the A value. Identify the vertex of your parabola. So using your table of values, look at the differences in the y-axis. If the difference, and find out where the differences pretty much move or deviate from one center point. Okay? And then identify the direction of the opening of the parabola. And that's very simple. Remember that the direction of the opening, okay, parabola will open up if A is positive. Okay? The parabola will open down if A is equal to a negative value. Okay, so let's look at the graphs that you should have created with those 3 examples. Okay, so these are the 3 examples again. Y is equal to x squared, y is equal to x squared plus 3, and y is